Hi, I'm Chad Boeninger, Business Librarian for Ohio University Libraries. I make videos like this to teach business research tools for my students at Ohio University and beyond. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use SimplyAnalytics to understand the industry and market conditions in a local area. This was a previously recorded research session that I did for hundreds of business students earlier this week. But if you're new to SimplyAnalytics, this gives you a broad use case and kind of shows you all the kind of bells and whistles that you can use SimplyAnalytics for in order to better understand your local market. So let's get started. So again, what SimplyAnalytics is for, so it's really good for understanding local or regional consumer information. You can build maps, comparison tables, and rankings for consumer product demand, and I'll kind of show you how that works. Okay. The thing about SimplyAnalytics, you can sign in as a guest, but if you create an account, just use your Ohio email address and then whatever password you want. You don't have to give it your official Ohio password. It doesn't do single sign-on, so don't try to put in your email address and then your Ohio password without first creating an account. You got to create an account first. That's a separate kind of thing. And so I'm going to sign in as me. The nice thing about creating an account is it'll remember what you were working on last time, right? And so this morning I was kind of tinkering around a little bit, and I basically built a map of Godiva chocolate users within 3 miles of, there's a candy store in Easton, at Easton Town Center. So this is like a percentage of people who bought Godiva chocolate, which I would consider kind of like a premium chocolate, if you will, to benchmark against in the 3 mile radius of that store in like the last 6 months. Okay. So we can do stuff like that. So I'm going to do a new project just so we have something to look at. So I'm going to do, let's do Columbus, Ohio. I'm just do Columbus, Ohio as a city. We'll do Cleveland. I was getting this error down here at the bottom left as well. An unexpected error occurred. I don't know why it's doing that, but whatever. We'll just kind of keep going. So you can kind of basically do, do cities. And it's location based. So once you kind of start with a city, you could also just do USA as well if you wanted to. USA is also included as a default. If you want to do the whole state of Ohio, you could do that. If you want to do a zip code, right? You can do a zip code, all kinds of cool stuff that you can add in here for a location. Okay. Now, when you're first getting started, it wants you to kind of start off with some seed variables. And let's say, these are kind of like, why would I want to choose any of these? Well, it's basically they don't want you to start off empty-handed. And so total population is always a good thing to kind of, as maybe a percentage household income, $100,000 or more might be interesting, particularly if I'm looking at my premium chocolate product to sell to affluent people, that it might be interesting to kind of get that information. And we can create our project here. The first thing it does, it goes and throws you in a map. And right now, this is the map of Columbus, Ohio, right? So this is kind of gross to look at. We're going to go do something else to start. We're going to start with a comparison table. And so here we're looking at all of these areas. And if you wanted to, you can kind of drag these. I tend to like to do small to large, if you will, on those kind of things, right? Now, so right now we just have basic data that was auto-selected for us. What we can do over here is go over here and let's type in, let's look for Godiva as data. And I've got data selected here. I'm going to search for Godiva. And so here we see, we're looking at liquors here. That's kind of out of my scope of my particular project. I don't know about yours, but so here we see we've got sole users, we've got sole primary, and we've got secondary, right? So sole users would be people who they bought boxed chocolate and that was the only thing they bought, right? Sole primary would be like these are the people that's my primary brand of that sort of thing. The secondary would be like I also buy Godiva chocolates, but maybe I buy Ghirardelli first, right? So I'm going to do let's just do this one down here. This is kind of easier to understand. Percentage of people who bought Godiva chocolates in the last 6 months. So we'll just use the percentage, and we can use the actual number there. And then when we do that, it actually adds it to our list here. Okay. Now, this is mathematically projection based. Okay. So as an example, they did not go through and interview 21,360 population in Athens, Ohio, right, in the city, and then come up with 125 people who actually bought, Godiva chocolate in the last 6 months. Okay. They basically use like the data over here for the Simmons data, and they do a mathematical projection to project the percentage of people who are likely to buy, Godiva chocolate in a particular area. Okay, so just kind of bear that in mind as you're thinking about this. It's not made up data. It's just that it's not, it's not like exact. It's not census level data, right? Census level data is like an actual tally. They count every single person. This is a mathematical kind of projection, if you will. Okay, but it's still useful in kind of like telling your story because it is a projection based on data, right? So, so this gives us kind of this list here. We can also do things like I'm going to do a ranking over here, and let's say you're like, I want to look at let's change this guy here. Let's go over here and change view actions, edit my view. And I want to do the percentage of Godiva chocolate people. And I'm going to get rid of that and then do done. Okay. So here we have, let's see here. Okay, so here we have our candy, sweets, etc. total users. What I want to do is do top 100 cities in the USA, sorted by percentage of people sorted by percentage of people who bought Godiva chocolate in the last 30 days. Right now, you'll notice that some of these are really, really small, and you're like, I don't really want to put my candy shop in Dawson, Maryland, because there's only 46 people who live there. Right. So what you can do is go up here under filter, right? And we can filter by total population is greater than, and let's say, let's see, that's 100,000, right? And we apply that. And you'll see it strikes out all those. If you want to get rid of the strikeout, go back to your filter and just hide those, right? And apply. All right, so now we have a list that's a little bit more, realistic here. So here we see we have the percentage of people by city who bought Godiva chocolate, right? So maybe a way that you can kind of determine like where to locate your particular premium chocolate store or whatnot, right? You can also do this via a map. If we click on the map here, let's look at the percentage of people who bought Godiva chocolate. And right now we're looking at in Columbus. Let's look at it in USA. And then right now it's loading by county. Let's do it by states, right? And so you can kind of see visually like what this might look like across the United States, like what percent of people have bought Godiva chocolate in the last 6 months. Okay. Now, so how can you use this data? Well, let's say you're going to open a shop in Columbus, Ohio. So let's go to Columbus, Ohio. And right now this is all orange because we have it limited by state. So let's look at this by block groups, which is like the most kind of granular, small neighborhood sections in the area, right? Now, if I look at a map like this map is meaningless to me, okay? So let's say we want to open a candy shop right next to the candy store that is in the Easton Mall, okay? So what we can do is do locations, and then I'm going to do what's called a custom location here, all right? And I'm going to create a radius location because this arbitrarily drawn city map is not good for like looking at business data. So we're going to actually click create a new radius location. And that address for that shop is at 121 Easton Town Center. I just copy and paste it in there. I'll do an address search here. Oh, don't do this to me. You did this earlier. Why did you do this? Oh, this again. Oh, there we go. I was missing the 121 Easton Town Center. And I'm going to do the census tract because that's the smallest chunk of land in which this area is located. Okay, so it kind of gets big all the way down to small here. I'm going to do the census tract, and let's do people who like chocolate or like Godiva chocolate within 3 miles. So we'll just say premium chocolate fans close to store. All right, we'll just call it that. We'll do save. And what this will do is I'll do this kind of nice little map here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here, and you can kind of see it draws this thing for us. Now, if I'm doing my own kind of like PowerPoint presentation, want to present this data, like the OSU colors don't exactly scream like yummy, yummy chocolate, okay? Especially if you're like me and you're a Tennessee fan, right? So what I'm going to do actually is click Edit here. And you can go in and change the color scheme. It gives you kind of default to start with. So if you're like, I want to try some purple action here, and then maybe you want to roll in a little bit of light pink to that, you know. So now we're kind of getting to a cotton candy motif, if you will. You can kind of design that however you want to. You can also go up here and kind of manipulate the data. Right now it's looking at the national level data. If you want to change this to kind of look at all this doing, this box here is basically changing how these are represented down here. It's basically changing the bands of the data that's represented, okay? So if we do that, you can also change this to, 4 colors or something like that. Whoops, ooh, that got nasty on me. Let's change that back there. So you can kind of do that and then go and change, some of your colors back if you want to, things like that. So you can kind of tinker with that as you wish there. So. Once you have something that you're satisfied with, this is kind of cool. We'll click done here. You can actually export this as a map, right? And so you can kind of move this around here. We'll click continue to layout here. We've got our legend here. If we want to, if we don't know which way is up, you can add a north arrow, right? We can actually add a text label, Chad's sweet customers, for example, and then do OK. And you can also, change some of the things around, change the colors of this, etc. Do all kinds of cool stuff. And then you just export that as a PNG, JPEG, or PDF for your use in your PowerPoint presentation. Okay. I should also say all the comparison table stuff you can export as an Excel file. As well, things like that, as well as like the rankings and whatnot. You can remove all that kind of stuff. Okay. Finally, this might be worth looking at. So if we're looking at this map here and we go under businesses, I'm going to browse business categories and let's try retail trade and let's see, let me go back to categories here, retail trade and specialty food. Here's confectionery and nut retailers. All right, so we did that, and this basically finds a list of companies that are classified as confectionery and nut retailers within my competitive market area, right? And then once we do that, it actually creates a list of the businesses over here on the bottom right hand corner. And so this is the way that we can kind of visually represent some of the data that we saw over there in Merge and Inselect as well as in BizMiner, but look at it across our map, if you will. So, and then clicking on these will give you the actual fund or the actual name of the company, things like that. So, okay. So that is SimplyAnalytics and how you can some basic use cases on how you might use that thing. So Hopefully this video helped you better understand how to use this resource effectively, and I wish you the best of luck in your research. Take care.